Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, let's head towards our next session. And trust me, we've been waiting for this one to start. And it is now time for us to bring in our speakers on the same. First of all, our moderator of this conversation, Mr. Ritesh Shukla, CEO, NPCI International Payments Limited. May I now call upon our speakers, Mr. Abhijit Singh, Group Head, BaaS Digital Ecosystems and International Banking, HDFC Bank. I'd now like to urge the welcome of Mr. Rama Mohan Rao Amara, Managing Director, State Bank of India. I'd now like to welcome Ms. Suzan Kereere, the President Global Markets of PayPal. And ladies and gentlemen, welcoming on stage, Mr. Vikas Bansal, CEO, Amazon Pay India. May I now request all our panelists to please take seat, and with that, requesting Mr. Shukla to take forward with the conversation.
That's such a power-packed panel. I hope this stage doesn't give up to gravity for the next 30 minutes. So, very warm welcome to all of you. I think we have a packed house, a lot of keen ears. So let me not waste any more time. Let me start. Mr. Rao, I'll start with you. You know, I think SBI has made a lot of headlines recently. You have started an innovation hub with Apex in Singapore. In terms of your long-term strategy, how do you see State Bank of India leveraging this particular partnership? And how do you see this create opportunities in the international payments domain?
Thank you, Ritesh, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my fellow panelists. Maybe I would like to try to split that question into three parts. Some brief introduction about SBI to appreciate the kind of role what we play in the industry as well as the payments before I jump into the innovation piece. And then, of course, how are we doing in the international payments, global payments. I think all of you are aware State Bank of India is the largest bank in India with 520 million customers. Across the spectrum, be it HNI customers, be it a bottom of the pyramid kind of customers, and with a physical presence across 23,000 branches, 70,000 ATMs, and around another 80,000 business correspondents and customer service points. Besides that, we also have a very robust presence in internet banking as well as the mobile banking. In our mobile banking YONO app, we have around 90 million registrations. Almost 20-25% of those customers are quite active customers. Of course, there is a lot of expectation from the stakeholders to do our bit in terms of financial inclusion as well, be it micro loans or cross-selling micro insurance or micro pension, etc. These are all the things what we do. Given these kind of broad spectrum of customers as well as the product and services what we cater, I think we constantly look at innovation. For the purpose of transforming the business processes, whether it is a customer onboarding or the loans and advances or deposits, our payments, this comes naturally to us. And that is the reason why last year we partnered with this Apex Singapore in terms of creating a sandbox, a secured sandbox kind of environment, where we want to throw the problem statements, we want to give them the use case challenges or innovation challenges to them, work with them closely or collaborate with them in co-creating solutions. So this has worked well. Initially it took a time in terms of stabilizing, but we have already onboarded around 50 plus fintechs catering to a variety of services, plus around 250 APIs we have exposed. So this is working out well. With the help of this, we were able to reimagine the processes all across. As I said, whether it's a customer onboarding or instant digital loan, whether it's the retail or MSME, etc., we are able to do. With coming to the international payments, etc., we also have a role to play with our presence across 29 countries and 245 physical touch points outside India. We are one of the largest channelizer for the remittances, what the country receives. And all of you are aware, India is the largest recipient of inward remittances. Our share accounts for around roughly 20% in terms of the remittances received. So this also gives a bird's eye view, and we also know who are the players with whom to partner with. We are very happy to partner with NIPL, the NCPI, NPCI, International Private Limited. In terms of your drive to internationalize UPI, we are always there in those corridors where you have able to strike a agreement with respect to payment authorities. And we continuously work with other payment players. I think even PayPal as well. Recently, only yesterday, I think they launched an initiative with NPCI in terms of 3 countries. We are also there. We are also one of those partners who are facilitating that. While you have struck that agreement, which you have enabled it, we are a minor partner in that initiative, where Indian travelers using their UPI app can actually make the payments at merchants very effortlessly. So I think, as I say, like innovation and collaboration, working with the fintechs comes naturally to us, and true to our size and the expectations, we would like to play a good role in terms of global payment space.
Thank you. And you talked about internationalization of UPI, and you mentioned PayPal. So Suzan, I'll come to you next. So PayPal traditionally, was known as a closed loop system. Now you're pivoting towards creating PayPal World, which I think offers or at least is being perceived as an open, interoperable system. So what's the strategy, thought process here? How do you see it adding to evolution of global payment ecosystem? I think we'd love to hear from you on that.
Thank you, Ritesh, and thanks for having us on the panel, and similarly, really great to meet my fellow panelists. So by context, I think it's good to start with what is PayPal, and then I'll answer your question directly, Ritesh. So for those that don't know, PayPal is a large global payment enabler that has multiple businesses under it, from processing to how payments happen on a branded basis, and then multiple services under each of those. We do business in over nearly 200 countries and territories. We do about more than 30 billion in revenue. Over 2/3 of our business is done through some form of partnership or distributor partnership. And the business is growing well on many fronts. A few things, as we've thought more about who PayPal needs to be around the world, a few things are true now. First, if you look at our business, we've focused a lot on how we solve the needs of our customers by working customer back. And what's true about customer needs around the world is whether it's simplicity and ease. What's consistently true about simplicity and ease is you can't do that without security, privacy, and trust. And I think we've earned the right to be a trusted brand around the world because a lot of that work comes through partnerships. And if you look at the ecosystems of partners who we've worked with traditionally, those partners range from financial institutions, large global networks, large domestic networks, regulators, and of course, a plethora of other processors, partners, system integrators, etc. All of that has helped us understand what it's like to orchestrate business around the world. And that orchestration has come to a natural point now as we think more about growth. And PayPal World is a great example of extending that orchestration, because what it allows us to do now is to take PayPal into a more set of open ecosystems. In thinking about where PayPal World goes, and we really appreciate the partnership with you, Ritesh. I think it was great yesterday to have you and Alex on stage celebrating the launch of the first global partnership, and we hope to do much more together. In thinking through where that partnership goes, we feel strongly about this right to earn trust and to bring trust into this much broader ecosystem. But we also feel really good about the fact that we've learned a lot about how to do orchestration, working in both private and public sector. And if you look at the example of things that we're doing around the world, it ranges from the work we've done with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, most recently on how we think differently about the rules and regulations that front things like crypto, the work we've done with the FSB on thinking about the governance of payment orchestrators and payment processors in the cross-border framework, the work we've done here with most of your teams and many teams across the Reserve Bank on the launch of the payment aggregator model for cross-border, and various other examples of collaboration between public and private sector to ensure that trust is the underlying throughput for how we make cross-border payments work. As a company, our intention is to take that same framework into this larger orchestration of cross-border payments. And so PayPal World will be our first example of opening up the ecosystem, bringing partners who are backed by large regulators, large processing frameworks, large banks like SBI, HDFC, ICICI, and so on. And we're very excited about what that does to not just speed up innovation, because each partner will bring some of their innovations to the forefront, but how we do it compliantly, transparently, consistently around the world, and perhaps how we broker standards in this world of cross-border that don't really exist in a consistent way today. So we're very excited about where the future goes.
Thank you, Susan, and thanks for the opportunity to partner with the PayPal World. I think we're very excited here, not only in NPCI, but in India. Now, coming to you, Abhijit, Susan talked about trust, simplicity, and I think HDFC has created a beautiful business, which is one of the largest in payment space. I just wanted to understand how bank is looking in terms of partnerships with fintechs to not only reinforce the interoperability that today exists in India, but how to bring scale, make it more sustainable. So what are your thoughts around that?
Thank you so much, for inviting us to this panel, and good afternoon to all of you. I think like SBI is the largest public sector bank, HDFC is the largest private sector bank in the country, and when we look at this whole area of fintech and bank partnership, keeping that in mind, we've started a separate area called banking as a service, which which me and my team are working on, and I've been working on that for about a year and a half now. What I see in India is few very foundational things which are there in the country. So one is a very young population, and if you look at fintech adoption, we are probably the highest in the world. It's more than the global average. The second piece is, that unlike, we work for, all of us work for an organization where, one department cannot see other departments' data. Fortunately for the country, that hasn't happened. So the technology, the way regulator and the technology have interacted with each other, there is hardly any silo. So you see a great collaboration coming between the regulator and the technology. So that gives you a huge foundation to take things forward. Yeah. And what we see in our business that we are running is that ultimately payments, banking is a trust-based business. It's a scale business. It's a compliance business. So between the two partners, there's a beautiful collaboration which comes in, where we are looking at compliance, we are looking at trust at scale. And from the partner, what we are getting is understanding of what's the user experience in different platforms, what's the kind of user base they have. And banking or payments, is almost every bank has the similar payment proposition or similar products. But what matters is when we put it in that particular platform, how do you package it, how do you contextualize it, and how do you present it to the person who wants that product at that time, at that time. And we are looking at, we're still not there, but we are making steps into seeing how banking can actually become invisible. Typically today, when you have to pay, I am paying. But how do we come to that point where it's completely invisible and you don't understand what's happening? A classical example could be what you see on Amazon. You know, when you're buying an iPhone, you don't see the price, you see the EMI first. And how can we build experiences like that is what you're working on.
Thank you very much. So now from largest private sector bank, so largest retailer in India, Vikas, great having you on stage. And Amazon, I think everyone here in the room must be using it at least once every couple of days. And there's no need to describe what Amazon is. But let's talk about Amazon Pay. I think you're driving it, and as such a powerful brand Amazon is. So how do you see Amazon Pay evolve in that space, not only domestically, but also internationally to enable payments on some of the rails that we are creating with partners like PayPal and others? So just wanted to hear your thoughts, strategy, some long-term vision around it.
So first of all, thank you. It's really my pleasure to be here. The Amazon Pay, just to set this, I think my fellow panelists talk about it, is our mission is really simple, which is how we are in the payments and financial services spaces. Payments, how do we make it very convenient? How do we make it trusted? And how do we make it rewarding for our customers? And trust, is really the backbone of everything we do, because we are in the business of taking money for customers. So trust is paramount, right? And on top of it, convenience is really, really important, super critical. And in that dimension, it's really about how do we make things fast, simple, and then failure free. So when we started kind of accepting payments on Amazon to what it is today, in the country where Amazon Pay customers can use it everywhere. And I remember, back in the day, almost 1 in 2 payments used to fail. Like, it was that bad. And to a point where it's less than 1 in 10. Still, I want to get to less than 1 in 20 or 1 in 50. But, we've come a very long way, in terms of simplifying experience for our customers. We recently also launched something like a wallet where, customers in India have multiple payment methods on how you can access that very simply, your wallet, with all your payment methods. But not only that, is like when you're making any kind of payment, whether on Amazon or outside, we work harder to show you which one has the best offer or which one has the best experience for you to use it. So you don't have to work harder. We will do that work for you, right? So very simple kind of saying on how we improve the experience or convenience for our customers, right? And similar thing on rewards. I'll give you another example of, when we started our credit program, one of the biggest insight was for credit cards, especially customers in India, felt like their credit cards is very complicated, right? They didn't understand what are they getting, how to use it. And then we said, look, can we make it very simple so that it's just about whatever it is, there is no limits, no caps, it automatically comes to you in your account. And that just simple insights, help us to get, the love of our customers. So I think the point I'm making is it's just about how, again, keep things simple, convenient and rewarding. And in that, to your question on how we drive, is really the biggest insight is as the customer, getting their attention at the moment of truth. I think Abhijit, you also talked about contextual. Nobody's waking up to say, I want to make a payment, right? Or I want to get a credit card. They are waking up to live their life. And if I can get them in the journey and help them solve their need, is really powerful. Like, for example, today customers are, say, on any of our merchants, they're on Amazon, they're trying to buy a washing machine. And if I can give them contextually a product which is better for them for that purchase, and then give them better discounts, better experience, is really the moment of truth, right? And on installments, as he also talked about. Today, majority of our customers are acquired contextually, more than 50%, right? Or even higher, are acquired contextually for that journey and for that experience. So that's really the strategy, is really to do basic things really well. And if you do basic things really well is when you get customer, kind of at the moment of truth, acquire them and deeply engaging them on that experience. And to your second point about like internationally, I think to me, interoperability matters, right? It is extremely important. And then today when we see what is the most interoperable payment method is cash. You can use it everywhere, and nobody's going to say like, look, I'm not going to trust this or whatever. But there's a lot of problems with that. Is you have to, carry it with you. You have to convert that to the country you're going. And it is a lot of those problems, right, that exist. And for us is how we can make and connect so that it becomes very important and interoperable so the customers can just use it. Because ubiquity in today's world is table stakes. And then we've done a lot of work, like we were one of the first ones, because wallet is something we said we feel very proud because it solves very critical need, but it was very closed loop. And we were the first one to say, like, let's expand it on UPI and launch it so that it becomes available now everywhere, right? And then similarly, because of our unique kind of global footprint, we understand like their needs and how we can then serve them for whether they're shopping globally, whether they're traveling, whether they're saying how we can provide the same experience that we've built kind of domestically to internationally. So that's just the thought process on how we are looking at it. But to me, interoperability is just so heart of it, otherwise, and then all the work that you and the team are doing is what's going to really take us to the next level of growth, from here.
Thank you, Vikas. I think great insights, and it's the approach that Amazon has taken. It has made it kind of a irreplaceable, partner in our lives. And Amazon enjoys great trust. And I think PayPal, if you ask, is also somewhere in the same zone when it comes to payments. And Suzan, you joined PayPal, I think, a couple of years back. How have you seen the organization evolve from the earlier phase to the current phase? And I think since you're in India, you will hear the word disruption quite often. And yesterday, Alex also mentioned on the stage that it's better to be a disruptor than be disrupted. So how have you seen the evolution of PayPal from the old to the new?
So first, I really liked a lot of what you said, because no one wakes up saying, how can I pay today? I do hope more people are saying that, though, for both of us. So if you go back to the history of our company, I think that we would say, hopefully we're not reinventing history, that we were early to the e-com and internet phase of commerce. And part of the reason we were early is we had this big desire to solve problems for consumers and small businesses, and that's still true about our DNA today. We were early and are still exploring where the future of crypto and stablecoin and CBDCs go. And we're early yet on agentic commerce, as we've launched our MCP server to give these multiple different LLMs the right guide frame to orchestrate payments, data, information, and to ensure that the same safety and trust is inherent in where those payment forms may go in the future. And if you look underneath all of that, aside from the fact that we want to continue to serve small businesses and consumers, where we think the future goes is that we want to be in places where payments and commerce happen in the future. And so the evolution we're on is one of shifting from just being a core payments company to one where, because we sit at this intersection of a lot of great payment data and a lot of information on the identity of both by the buyer and seller, we think we've earned the right to continue to orchestrate in all instances. So we're orchestrating payments now in this world of buying now and paying later. We're doing that across multiple markets. We do our buy now, pay later service in over 8 countries around the world, and we do it globally so that you can make the choice to buy and pay later using the trust and security and information we have about you and about the seller. We're orchestrating in ways that allow you now to be served up in a more personalized way, which is a point that, again, Vikas made. And that personalization comes from storing data, understanding your context, no matter where you choose to shop, no matter what channel you use. We're taking the same orchestration to the point of sale. So we're now in physical point of sale in markets like Germany, where, again, you can simply use your PayPal wallet to tap and pay. And the ability to do that, to make choices like paying later to go in the physical world is different, requires a lot more context, but it's the same context we're bringing in the physical world as we've brought to the digital world. And if you continue down the path as to where we're going with rewards and loyalty, a lot of that is adding more context for both the buyer and the seller to say, here's our signals that tell you high intent buyers are ready to make purchases for you, and these are the types of services, whether those services are ads or information about that buyer, to ensure that for both the seller and the buyer, that orchestration leads to a good purchase. We're bringing the same point of view to security. And again, going back to this whole point around interoperability, it becomes even more critical as we look at agent-to-agent purchases, that good buyers are matched with good sellers. And to do all of that and to do it cross-border, where the friction, you know, Vikas used a point of under 1 in 10 in terms of either misapplied transactions for fraud or misapplied because it was just a poor signal. Those intentions are much lower cross-border, where the friction can be as high as 4 in 10 transactions that fail today. So our intention is to serve consumers and sellers in the hardest context, to bring the same simplicity, and to do it over time in the world where, as more people shift to commerce, shift to more experiences, shift to a desire to do business in a borderless way, we are the same trusted brand as we've been around the world in every single channel around the world.
Thank you. So it's about, to simplify, connecting buyers and sellers with trust and simplicity. Now coming to you, Mr. Rao, State Bank of India, you mentioned earlier, has over 500 million customers. I think that's not the population many countries have in the world, barring 2. A dominant player domestically, great trust and credibility as a brand. And we at NPCI International, really are counting on State Bank of India like a big, SBI is our big brother. So how do you see, what are your thoughts around, the international connections that we are building, the interoperability that we are creating, and, SBI support is going to be seriously important to our efforts?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I think the need for interoperability has been emphasized enough, so I don't want to double down on that. But your initiatives, where you have built around 6 or 7 corridors, like India, Singapore, or India, Middle East, France, etc., I think a lot of steps have been taken, but the volumes are yet to pick up. So when I look back as to what are the key attributes of UPI, which made it so successful, which made it so scalable, definitely a few stand out. I mean, I will call out maybe 3 or 4. On the technical side, I can say the adoption of open standards and API from the NPCI has really helped in the banks and fintechs seamlessly connecting to the UPI rails, whereby they spend less on the integration, focus more on the enhancing the customer experience, etc. Definitely that stands out. But on the global side, when I look at, I think there is a tendency or move to migrate to ISO 20022 standard. Different countries are at different stages. So perhaps when all the countries adopt that, perhaps that may facilitate various systems talking to each other. Second thing, of course, is like a very unique to India is like a interoperable QR code, right? I mean, with one QR code, a merchant can receive the payment from any customer or from any payment app. So that is a very unique. How we can actually adopt it in the international arena has to be looked at. And the third, building on the trust, etc. I think NPCI has also created a very robust platform in terms of customers tackling the customer grievances or the fraud risk management. I'm also happy to see like a wide-scale adoption of AI/ML is also there in terms of detecting the fraud trends and alerting the payment players. Lastly, I will talk about one or two on the regulatory side. I think RBI is very prudent in terms of adopting a differentiated KYC. I think a less rigorous KYC for smaller payments and a full KYC for larger value payments, whether that can be adopted by all the countries and whether it is acceptable, that is one point to debate. And of course, the harmonization of AML, CFT kind of guidelines where different standards seem to be there. So how do we evolve a common standard that is acceptable, which will facilitate the cross-country flow in a more seamless manner? I think these are the key takeaways from our domestic experience.
Thank you, sir. Abhijit, India as an economy is growing, and I think Prime Minister also spoke about how we want to be a developed country by 2047, and that would also lead to increase in the size of economy and our presence globally, our standing globally. HDFC so far has been very, very dominant within India, but I'm sure with the growing economy, with growing stature, you will also have a bigger role to play internationally. So any thoughts on that topic? Any plans that bank has?
So on the international side, we're looking at scaling up that business. So currently we are in Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Middle East. We are available. What you're looking at, to be a bank, a global bank for global Indians. And basically there are three categories which we're looking at. One is the non-resident Indians, they have a huge remittance and other needs, or, how can you build experiences around their travel back into the country. Then with all the trade that is coming up, as some panelists also mentioned, there is the big corridor between India and UAE. There's a big corridor, India, Singapore, India, Hong Kong. So we want to play in a sizable manner in that area on the trade and transaction banking flows that come in. And certainly would like to help the Indian companies to explore overseas markets and how can we provide products which support them. But all of this, working in international geographies relies on a very strong compliance framework. So what you're looking at is, building up the foundations of compliance, digitizing it completely, and so that, we scale up more on technology as a backbone as we move into these countries and bring the kind of experience that India has in financial services to some of those markets. Some of those markets may not have as fluid of technology, digital experience that we have in India. So we want to bring something like that to the global geographies.
Thank you. We are very short on time, so Vikas, I'll request you to, answer it. So Amazon has great experience when you're shopping online, and you get to see so many options. You talked about EMIs and other payment forms being there. And I think from our experience, when you create open international acceptance, there is also an opportunity to create simple, gamification, better engagement by being, visible, creating awareness on the consumer side and all. So what are your thoughts on that when you start supporting international transactions? How are you going to, prioritize some of these things, and what's
I will,
thinking?
in the interest of time, I will just keep it to the same things, right? Can they be very simple and fast? And on the rewarding side, I would also say is that can we keep them like really, really low fees of friction, right? And what I see today is one, like when we have to make payments, like usually they take 2-3 days, right? It's just insane. We are living in the world of AI, and then still it is majority of them. Obviously, a lot of people have innovated. So can we make it fast and instant, which I think the work that the team is doing is really helpful. And then, we also talked about interoperable. It's not like I want another payment method to pay here, another one here. So it's just one thing that works across. But then the most important part is about what has helped us to scale UPI and other payment methods in India is because we've kept cost extremely low. and that otherwise becomes a huge friction. So to me, not only, and then a lot of times people kind of work around, they don't put a fees, but the exchange rate conversion is so bad that you end up paying so high fees. So one of the things that where we look at it is to say, like, look, let's make it extremely easy and extremely, cheap for customers, because then when the adoption comes, then we are better than cash, right? And I think that is the heart of it, is keeping it very easy, transparent, and ubiquitous for customers. And I think the strides we are making as a country, domestically we've made, now we have to take it international, is it's got to be so cheap, and so easy for you to use it, right? And that's what I would say. I don't have any new insight. I think my insight for everyone here is how we keep things simple and simple and simple. So that's
Thank you, Vikas. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for our panelists. Some beautiful insights. Thank you for your time and participation.
Well, what a fabulous panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it once again for our entire panel, and may I request all of them to join us in the center. Thank you so much, Ritesh, Abhijit, Rama Mohan Rao, Suzan, and Vikas. Thank you so much for joining in.